It's 3 in the morning, the house is silent, and suddenly you hear it, a sound like a tiny yet incredibly determined herd of bison stampeding through your living room. It's your cat. The Zoomies have begun. What are these sudden bursts of frantic energy that transform your fluffy couch potato into an uncontrollable projectile? Today, we're going to break down the phenomenon of cat Zoomies piece by piece, and I promise after this video, you'll look at your furry friend in a whole new light. To truly understand the modern house cat, we need to look back at its past. Thousands of years ago, the ancestors of our purring companions were solitary predators. Their lives consisted of short, intense bursts of hunting, followed by long periods of rest to conserve energy. Domestic life changed everything. The food bowl is always full, and mice are only seen in cartoons. But those instincts haven't gone anywhere. They're just simmering beneath the surface, waiting for their moment. So let's start with the most common and straightforward reason. Untapped energy. Imagine your cat as a small but incredibly powerful battery. All day long, while you're at work or busy with your own tasks, that battery is charging. Cats can sleep anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a day, and all that time, they're accumulating energy. This is an ancient mechanism that allowed their ancestors to be ready to hunt at any given moment. But here's the catch. In the wild, this stored energy would be spent on stalking prey, on the chase, and on patrolling their territory. What happens in our homes? Food appears in their bowl on a fixed schedule. There's nothing to hunt. No threats. Consequently, by evening or deep into the night, that battery is charged to 100%, with nowhere to discharge that energy. And then the inevitable happens. A short circuit of sorts. The cat's body practically shouts, "I need to move." And move. It does. This sudden, explosive run is simply a way to release pent-up tension and expend excess calories. So in most cases, it's not a sign of madness, but rather a sign of a healthy and well-rested animal. The second reason is directly linked to the first. It's their predatory heritage. Just look at your cat. Even if they're the laziest, most pampered furball imaginable, deep down, they are still a predator. A perfectly engineered hunting machine, designed by nature to stalk and capture prey. Their ancestors survived solely thanks to their speed, agility, and lightning-fast reflexes, and those instincts haven't vanished. They're simply dormant, buried under layers of domestic comfort. All that energy we discussed earlier was originally meant for the hunt. It's not just a simple urge to move, it's the raw fuel for an ancient program, encoded deep within their DNA. This program follows a precise sequence: stalk, creep, lie in wait, and then the explosive pounce. So when your cat suddenly bolts from a dead sleep and starts tearing around the house, they're essentially replaying the most thrilling part of the hunt in their mind. They are fulfilling their inherent purpose. So it's not just random Zoomies, it's the ghost of an ancient hunt, playing out right there in your living room. Let's break down the hunt itself. It's far more than just mindless running. For a wild cat, most of the hunt is defined by silence, immense patience, and incredible concentration. It's a slow, almost imperceptible stalk, where the animal becomes virtually invisible, blending seamlessly with its surroundings. Then come the long minutes of motionless waiting in ambush, every muscle coiled and tense like a loaded spring. Finally, when the prey is at the perfect distance for attack, everything culminates in an explosive burst. Maximum acceleration, the climax, the most decisive, energy-intensive moment of all. And that sudden burst of frantic energy, that's your cat's imitation of this final, deadly pounce. Your cat isn't just running aimlessly, it's practicing the most crucial part of the hunting ritual. The entire coiled spring of its instincts unwinds in those few seconds of unstoppable motion. It's pure, concentrated predatory energy, unleashed. This brings us to the core dilemma of the modern house cat. They possess a powerful instinct coupled with energy, meticulously built up to fuel it, yet there's no actual object for this energy to be directed towards. In the wild, this potent impulse would be aimed at a specific target: a mouse, a bird, a lizard, The entire sequence would have a clear, logical conclusion: the chase, the capture, the ultimate satisfaction. But what about in an apartment? Just walls, furniture, endless hallways. Essentially, the cat has a formidable tool, but no task for that tool to solve. It's like a high-performance race car idling in a garage. The engine roars, the fuel tank is full, but there's no track to race on. This internal conflict is precisely what leads to those seemingly chaotic and aimless bursts of running. The cat isn't actually hunting, it's simply letting off steam. It's trying to cope with a powerful inner impulse that has no natural outlet. This is where that explosive release of pent-up energy truly comes to life. Imagine trying to hold back a powerful sneeze. For a while you can manage it, but eventually the urge becomes irresistible and a mighty, uncontrolled burst escapes. Cats experience something very similar with their energy. It accumulates, reaching a critical point, and their nervous system shouts, "Release!" Their entire body screams, "Time to act!" And they respond, just as instinct dictates. They run. They tear through the apartment, scaling cupboards, bouncing off walls, because this is their sole available method to manage that overwhelming surge of inner strength. This isn't mere play, it's a profound physiological necessity. It's how they maintain their internal equilibrium and prevent themselves from going stir-crazy. So, the next time you witness this feline frenzy, understand it's not chaos. It's merely a very emphatic and often loud, energetic discharge. Now let's talk about timing. Why does this mini-apocalypse so often strike in the middle of the night? You've just settled into bed, the house is quiet, and then it begins. It all comes down to their biological clocks. Contrary to popular belief, cats aren't strictly nocturnal. They're actually crepuscular. Their natural peak activity is at dawn and dusk. This is the perfect time to hunt in the wild. During twilight, potential prey, like rodents, emerges from their burrows, while the predator is harder to spot. Even if your house cat has long adapted to your human schedule, their internal clock still runs on ancient instincts. As you're winding down for sleep, their primal nature, on the other hand, is just waking up. For them, it's the most exciting time of day. So those sudden midnight zoomies, or the pitter-patter of paws that wakes you at 3 a.m. From a cat's perspective, that's happening right in their prime time. They're simply answering the call of their ancestors. Here's another interesting trigger many cat owners have probably observed: the burst of energy after a meal. You'd think after a satisfying dinner, they'd want to lie down and quietly digest, but some cats do the exact opposite. After finishing their portion, they'll often launch into a full-speed dash around the house. This behaviour actually makes a lot of sense. Food is their primary energy source, and when a cat gets a fresh supply of fuel, their body reacts almost instantly. There's a sudden surge of energy that needs to be burned off immediately. In the wild, a successful hunt and subsequent meal would typically mean it's time to relax and recover. But for our domesticated felines, it's quite different. They didn't expend energy hunting for their food, so after eating, they have an energy surplus. And they burn off this excess in the simplest, most obvious way: intense physical activity. It's almost like a victory lap for the successful hunter. But what about the most peculiar, and at first glance, utterly inexplicable kind of feline behaviour? Yes, I'm talking about the famous post-poop zoomies. It's a familiar sight. Your cat exits the litter box, ears flattened, and then suddenly bolts away as if an invisible monster is hot on its heels. There are several theories behind this behaviour. The first, and perhaps simplest, is linked to the instinct for self-preservation. In the wild, an animal is highly vulnerable while defecating. The smell also attracts predators. Therefore, once its business is done, the cat strives to leave this dangerous spot as quickly as possible. The second theory offers a more positive perspective. The act of defecation stimulates the vagus nerve, which can trigger a sense of euphoria and relief in the cat. This state is so pleasant that the animal expresses it through a burst of frantic, energetic activity. So, it might simply be a joyful dash, a run of pure well-being. It's like they're thinking, task complete, time for a victory lap. But there's more to it than just physiology and ancient instincts. Sometimes those zoomies are a pure, unadulterated expression of happiness. Picture a small child who's just received a long-awaited gift. They might jump, shout and run in circles. Their emotions are simply too big to contain, spilling out in a flurry of motion. Cats experience something remarkably similar. When a cat is truly content, feeling safe, well-fed, healthy, and loved, they can literally overflow with positive energy. This burst of activity isn't about releasing tension or mimicking hunting. It's simply a joyous celebration of good spirits. It's their way of telling the world, I feel so amazing, I could just burst with happiness. And burst they do, transforming for a few exhilarating minutes into a fluffy, purring comet. So, if your cat suddenly starts zipping around after you've given them a good petting or a fun play session, perhaps they're simply saying thank you in their unique feline language. Sometimes it's not a monologue at all, but rather a dialogue. More precisely, it's a direct invitation to play. Cats are incredibly intelligent and social creatures, and they're remarkably good at communicating with us, even without words. When your cat dashes past you, makes an abrupt stop, looks you in the eye, and then bolts off again, that can be a completely deliberate action. Through this behaviour, they're essentially saying, Hey, human, look how fast and agile I am. Go on, try to catch me. It's a challenge, an invitation to join the fun. Cats quickly learn that this kind of behaviour grabs our attention. If you respond to this playful run with a game a few times, your cat will remember that connection. And the next time they're feeling bored, they'll use this dash as a surefire way to get you involved in their fun. This isn't just instinct anymore. It's a learned element of their social behaviour. Have you ever watched your cat suddenly react to something that just isn't there? One moment, they're peacefully napping, and the next their eyes widen, they spring up, and whoosh, they're off, bolting into another room. You look around, but see nothing. Just silence. But the truth is, a cat's senses are incredibly sharper than ours. They can perceive sounds in the ultrasonic range, completely inaudible to human ears. Their sense of smell is dozens of times more powerful, and their vision is exquisitely adapted to detect the slightest flicker of movement. So, what seems like complete silence to us might actually be a vibrant tapestry of sounds and scents for a cat. The faint hum of electronics behind a wall, the lingering scent of a neighbour's cat carried on the breeze through an open window, the fleeting shadow of a bird passing by the window, even a single dust mote dancing in a sunbeam, can instantly trigger their predatory instinct. Your cat isn't going crazy. They're simply experiencing a world that is infinitely richer and more nuanced than our own. Age naturally plays a significant role in how often and how intensely these bursts of feline energy occur. If you have a kitten at home, you're essentially living in the epicenter of this delightful chaos, experiencing it day in and day out. For these little ones, these energetic antics aren't just about blowing off steam. They're their primary way of exploring the world and learning. Every dash, every pounce is a crucial training session. They're sharpening their coordination, mastering sharp stops and turns, and building strong muscles. They're mimicking hunting imaginary prey, attacking their own tails with gusto, and staging ambushes for your unsuspecting feet. It's their school of life, their very own university. Through all this boisterous activity, kittens are preparing themselves for adulthood, even if that adult life largely consists of napping on a plush sofa. So, for a kitten to tear around like a tiny maniac is not just normal, it's absolutely essential for their healthy physical and mental development. It's their full-time job, really. But those sudden bursts of energy, often playfully called zoomies, in elderly cats are a much rarer and more ambiguous phenomenon. As animals, much like humans, age, their energy levels decline, their metabolism slows, joints may ache, and a mature, dignified cat typically prefers to spend most of their time quietly napping. So, if your 10-year-old pet, who for years has acted like a staid aristocrat, suddenly starts tearing around the house like a kitten, this can be both a very good and a concerning sign. On one hand, it might mean your cat feels fantastic, is pain-free, and simply decided to relive their youthful days. But on the other hand, a sudden and uncharacteristic change in behaviour in a senior pet is always a reason to pay closer attention. Sometimes, such an unexpected surge of energy can actually be a sign of developing health problems. This brings us to the crucial question, when are Zoomies not normal? While 99% of the time this behaviour is completely harmless, sometimes it can indeed be a sign of underlying issues. It's crucial to distinguish a healthy burst of energy from behaviour caused by discomfort or an underlying health problem. The key here is change. If your cat has always been active and prone to occasional Zoomies, that's her normal. But if a usually calm and placid animal suddenly starts tearing around the house for no apparent reason, or if these bursts of energy become too frequent, chaotic, and are accompanied by other odd behaviours, such as excessive licking or vocalisation, that's a reason to be concerned. It's important to observe the overall picture, rather than just the running itself. For instance, one medical reason for this kind of behaviour could be severe skin itching. Imagine dealing with a flea infestation or a sudden allergic reaction. That constant, all-over itching sensation can be absolutely unbearable. Of course, your cat can't tell you about this discomfort verbally, and she certainly can't reach every itchy spot like her back. So, the only way she tries to cope with this maddening sensation is through movement. She's quite literally trying to outrun the itch. This frantic burst of activity often looks quite different from playful running. It's more nervous, more erratic, often quite jerky. A cat might suddenly stop mid-dash to furiously bite or scratch an itchy spot, only to bolt off again moments later. If you observe this kind of frantic behaviour, especially when accompanied by visible scratching, patchy fur loss, or red, irritated skin, it's a clear signal that it's time for a visit to the veterinarian. Stress and anxiety are another significant trigger for unusual feline behaviour. Cats are creatures of habit, and any abrupt changes in their environment can cause them intense distress. Moving to a new home, a new family member, or another pet joining the household, loud renovations next door, or even just rearranging furniture, all of these can completely throw a cat off balance. And just as some people pace nervously when stressed, a cat might start racing around the house. This frantic running is their way of coping with nervous tension, a means to release pent-up adrenaline and cortisol. It's not a joyful burst of energy or a playful Zoomie. It's a clear sign of anxiety. This behaviour might also be accompanied by other stress indicators. The cat might hide, refuse to eat, or start using the litter box inappropriately. In such situations, it's crucial to identify and address the underlying cause of their discomfort. While rare, sudden hyperactivity in cats can sometimes signal a serious underlying endocrine disorder. The most common and striking example is hyperthyroidism, or an overactive thyroid gland. This condition primarily affects older cats. The thyroid gland begins to churn out an excessive amount of hormones, effectively putting the cat's entire system into overdrive. Their metabolism accelerates to an extreme degree. Despite a healthy, even increased appetite, the cat will often lose significant weight. They become restless, anxious, may vocalize much more than usual, and exhibit bursts of energy entirely uncharacteristic of their age. Outwardly, it might appear as if your senior cat has suddenly regained its youthful vigour. However, in truth, their body is being pushed to its absolute limits, running itself ragged. Therefore, if you observe this specific trio of symptoms, unexplained hyperactivity, increased appetite and weight loss, in your adult or senior cat, a prompt visit to your veterinarian is absolutely essential. But let's shift our focus from those worrying scenarios to something more positive. In the vast majority of cases, those frantic bursts of energy, what we often call Zoomies, are simply a bored little predator's cry for stimulation, and it's well within our power to help them channel that wild energy into something peaceful and constructive. The answer is surprisingly simple: proper, regular play sessions. And we're not talking about just tossing a toy mouse their way. We mean engaging, interactive play that truly mimics a real hunt. This is the best way to satisfy your pet's deeply ingrained instincts and provide them with essential physical and mental stimulation. Just 2 or 3 10 to 15-minute play sessions a day can make a world of difference. A tired and satisfied hunter is a calm, happy cat who won't need to put on those midnight Zoomies. The key here is mimicry. The best tools for this are wand toys with feathers or furry attachments. Move the toy like real prey would. Hide it around a corner, let it freeze, then make sudden, darting movements. Don't just wave the toy aimlessly in front of your cat. That's boring and unstimulating. Engage their natural instincts to stalk, pounce, and leap. Most importantly, always let your cat catch the prey at the end of the play session. This moment of capture is absolutely crucial. It provides your cat with a sense of completion and the deep satisfaction of a successful hunt. If you simply snatch the toy away, your pet will be left feeling frustrated. Allow them to grab it, mouth it, thrash it, and ultimately triumph over their prey. This brings immense psychological satisfaction and helps them release pent-up energy much more effectively than aimless running. And finally, point number 20, and it's a crucial one: environmental enrichment. For a cat, your home is their entire world. If that world is flat, dull, and limited to just the floor and a couch, your cat will quickly become bored and restless. Think vertically. Cats absolutely love heights. Tall, multi-level scratching posts, wall-mounted shelves, and window hammocks all dramatically increase your cat's usable space and provide endless opportunities for exploration and activity. Add play tunnels where they can hide, stalk, and ambush. Introduce puzzle feeders that challenge their minds as they hunt for treats or meals. Don't underestimate the power of a simple cardboard box. It can be a fantastic source of amusement. The more stimulating and engaging your cat's environment, the more naturally and gradually they'll expend their energy throughout the day, preventing those late-night Zoomies or destructive bursts. So, what's the big takeaway? The main revelation in all of this is that your cat's sudden bursts of energy, what we call Zoomies, aren't a sign of madness or naughtiness. More often than not, it's completely normal, even healthy behaviour. It's a primal scream of ancient instincts confined within your domestic pet. It's their way of saying, "I'm a predator, I'm full of energy, I'm bored." Understanding this simple fact completely changes how you view your pet's nocturnal antics. You start to see it not as a problem, but as a need you can help them fulfill. In summary, those cat Zoomies are a complex cocktail of instincts, energy, emotions, and sometimes even medical reasons. By giving your cat enough attention and providing them with active play, you'll not only make your nights more peaceful, but you'll also make your furry friend's life much happier. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you learned something new about your pet, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our other interesting insights. Now, a question for you. Share your funniest cat Zoomie story in the comments below. We'd love to read them.